Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's LinkedIn Live discussion. Who gets promoted shapes what gets tolerated. Talent decisions as conduct and governance risk. I'm Rita Choi, founder of Asia HRM and your moderator for the session today. Thank you for joining us. Just let us know where you are from and put it in the comment box so that we know you better. Today's conversation sits at the intersection of governance, conduct risk, culture, and talent decisions, a space where HR, compliance, and leadership responsibilities converge. We are joined by two respected voices, Mr. Tony Poon, Senior Business Development Manager at ACAMS, and Mr. Tony Jie, Senior Risk Manager at a global crypto exchange. Both will bring deep expertise, actually both has deep expertise in financial crime, conduct risk, and organizational behavior. High performers don't just shape results, right? They shape culture. Every promotion sends a message about what success looks like, what behaviors leadership rewards, and what becomes tolerated. When organizations reward performance while overlooking conduct, accountability, and governance, they intentionally reinforce unhealthy norms. Promotion decisions are not just HR processes. They are governance decisions with long-term cultural consequences. Okay, so before we start the panel discussion, I would love to say hi to every one of you. Welcome to the session. And we have got someone here. Andrew, yes, I think Andrew is your friend, right? Saying hi to us. Welcome, Andrew. And during the session, you are most welcome to put your questions and comments in the comment box. And they will be answered by our guest today. Thank you so much. So before we start the discussion, I would love to hear the introduction from our speakers today. Who would like to go first about your introduction?
I'll let Timothy go first.
Okay, Timothy, right? Okay.
Timothy, you're on mute.
Good afternoon, everyone. And I'm Timothy Poon, and I'm currently a Senior Business Development Manager in ACAMS. ACAMS is actually the largest organization mainly dealing with and combat financial crime. I will talk a bit more later on because I have slide on that. And I do have, I do own CAMS Audit, CAMS Financial Crime Investigator, CGSS, like for example, sanctions and crypto asset financial crime specialist certification. I also own a certified management accountant and fellowship of Institute of Public Accountants. And this is my contact. If you would like to contact me, please feel free after this session. And actually, we ACAMS is the largest, as I say, we are the largest anti-financial crime organization through thought leadership, professional training, and P2P networking. And we do have a very great global coverage already, particularly in Hong Kong, US, Canada, etc. And but I will not go deep dive on it because it's my organization. And I will now hand over to Tony to introduce himself.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tony. Very quick introduction in line with the topics of today. So I have been in the industry for 17 years. I started my career in Standard Chartered Bank. I stayed there for like a short 4 months, and then I moved it to law enforcement, the Hong Kong Police Force. And I worked there for 15 years. And recently, since last year, I transferred out and now working in one of the global crypto exchange with around 5,000 employees in the company. I think it's a very interesting topic today because we're talking about promotion, we're talking about governance, and I happen to have worked in quite some large organization for my career. So a bank, Standard Chartered Bank, we have lots of employees in Hong Kong. With law enforcement, Hong Kong Police Force, we have 30,000 of us in the organization. And you can just imagine the competitiveness about promotion. And obviously now I'm back into a very new industry in the crypto exchange. And then again, having been here for like a year and a half, I have already witnessed the two promotion exercise. And I will be able to share some views from a personal perspective. So, and that's very much about my introduction. I'll give it back to Rita to start the.
Thank you, Tony. Yeah, thank you, Tony and Timothy. So today's discussion is very unique because of the background of these two speakers. They're going to share the stories about crimes, right? This is I think this is very special and will be very interesting. So just welcome Miss Wen, Yin Ying, and also someone from LinkedIn who's saying good morning to us. So let's start our panel discussion. Just feel free to put your questions and comments on the comment box, and they'll be answered by our very unique speakers today. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so maybe Timothy, the first question for you. Okay, so based on your experience, how are governance and culture related to financial crime and unhealthy norms inside organizations? Maybe Tony can add on later.
Yes, it is related and it's interrelated as well. They interact together. But let me show you some more things on the slides. Okay, so I just want to let you know more about the background. So for financial crime, it's not only money laundering, but also these 6 things: money laundering, terrorist financing, bribery, corruption, sanctions, fraud, and tax. So it's not just only money laundering, but how it related to governance and today's topic. How does it relate? So first of all, why it is matter first? If your organization is being regulated, you must be able to read the AML ordinance. And under the AML ordinance, for example, CAP 615, this kept from the TCSP1. On section 1.3, you can clearly say that non-compliance with the guidance by the TCSP licensee may also reflect adversely on the fitness and populace of their sole proprietor, partners, director, and ultimate owner where applicable. So, which means if you didn't follow the AML ordinance, you may have some negative results. Some of the director or senior management even breach like financial crime, like insider trading, and their license got be read. So it is a very serious financial crime, and without a good governance, you cannot manage it, right? And another one, at the section 3.6, the board of director or its delegated committee and senior management of a TCSP licensee should have a clear understanding of its money laundering, terrorist financing risks, and ensure that the risks are adequately managed. So that means all the senior management, CO, MLRO, board of director, partner, they should know well about money laundering risks. So and how it related to governance. If you do have a good governance, it will drive to get the right people, and you will get to do the right thinking, and then you will ask the right questions, and then you will need to have a right using the right tools and right decision, and it ends up take a right action and a good result. So actually, it's common sense. It's really related, yeah. And about the findings about the questions, Tony and I discovered 2 things that, like for example, the first one, if a in case of cash intensive individuals or corporates, well, when it happened, people normally will think to get extra money or extra gains from legally first. But if they fail to do so, they probably will try to get extra gains from financial crimes such as bribery. And I'll give you 2 examples shortly. And another one is it could be, well, if you say that, hey, my salary is like that, I won't get fired anyway. So I will become a lazy employee. So for this part, I can let Tony to explain a bit more. But firstly, please allow me to explain the first one. The first one is about JP Morgan. JP Morgan opens the employment doors for sons and daughter. The sons and daughters program was a corrupt hiring scheme rather than an active or current job opening. In November 2016, JP Morgan Chase agreed to pay USD 264 million fine to the US regulator for the systematical hiring the unqualified relatives and children of powerful foreign government officials to win the business deal, for example. And yeah, this is the cost, and you can see it related to promotion or job hiring seeking, right? And another one is Hong Kong, is for Hong Kong. ICAC charged ex-ED, Executive Director of Organization A, I so-call it A, with misconduct in public office over daughter-in-law's hiring by Israel. At the material time, Ms. Hui was the ED of A, and her daughter, Ms. Chen, was a digital consultant. It is alleged that between September 2022 and March 2023, Ms. Wei and Ms. Chen conspired together for Ms. Hui in the course of or in relation to Ms. Wei's public office without reasonable excuse or justification to willfully misconduct herself by using her official position in a manner that was intended to induce insurance firm to offer employment to Ms. Chen with enhanced salary package. In return, insurance firm can build up a great relationship with A and provide inside information, which caused a big problem, conflict of interest. So you can see that it does relate. So I will now pass to Tony to explain a bit more for his field.
Right. So let me give some example about, especially on bribery and especially about governance and culture. Especially in the time when I was in the law enforcement, we talked a lot on governance and culture. That's probably because the works that we do creates a lot of conflict of interest. So because we have power, we are powered by the law, so we are empowered to do something that could potentially, well, basically we have authority, right? So to investigate or to enforce, right? So especially if you have a culture and governance, just imagine that if you're just a normal employee there and you're earning your wages, a normal citizen, right? Just working in an organization, and you're given power. And what's important about culture is to remind yourself the job vision. So in law enforcement, we always have like mission and vision, like you want to keep Hong Kong one of the safest place. You want to be fair, impartial. They create a lot of things, a lot of value, which keep you noble. So whenever time it comes to like a bribery, or whenever time some people try to get you to do some bad things, it's not just about the money or the benefit you're getting, but it's the culture that you're thinking about. If I do that, will the citizen, will the people be disappointed in the government? Will the people be disappointed with me? And we always and about culture, we don't want to recruit people to join the police force because simply it's good wage, it's stable, it's a government job. We want to recruit people who want to keep Hong Kong as a safe place. So we add on a lot of like value into the job, which somehow, if you have this culture within the organization, it helps you to resist financial crime. Especially when you talk about bribery, especially when you talk about doing crime yourself. Okay. And because of these topics, I also like to, within the government, there's a very transparent policy written in the organization, within the organization about how you can be considered for promotion. And the transparency is very important because usually is when you are very clear about your career path, then you can stay focused in your career, right? Okay, and avoid doing silly things. Especially, as I think as a very extreme example in law enforcement, we always talk about discipline. And talking about discipline, it could be like coming to work late, or sneaking out for a lunchtime, or being lazy about your work, right? Usually when it comes close to promotion, or when you consider yourself as a competitive, like a competitor for the promotion exercise, people are often very mindful about this sort of discipline action, like disciplinary things that will violate the disciplinary rules and regulation. So I think we can we can move on a little, but then I think the culture is very important, especially coming to financial crime. Is how do we get our employees to actually enjoy what they're doing and actually love the company, right? Okay, I'm not here to sell people to love the company. Okay, I know it might sound crazy, right? But it's very realistic that I think an organization needs to work on that. So if every employee enjoys their work and love the company, and simply they will avoid doing things that would harm the company, right? Okay. All right, we can move on to the next part.
Thank you so much. So you're not advocating people loving the company, but indeed, if we love the company, they will not do anything harmful to the organization. That's very true. Okay, let's move on. And we do have Bernard joining us, right? Bernard, good morning to you. Okay, so we are encouraging every one of you to put your questions or comments on the comment box so that they will be answered, or they will be announced here, or we will share your insights here as well. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so let's talk about fair measurement on staff performance. Tony, let's talk about performance management. Performance management measurement from a risk and governance perspective. How can organizations ensure a fair and consistent measurement of staff performance besides asking the staff to love their organizations? So what sort of things that the organization can do to measure? Yeah.
Right. It's a very interesting one because I started my career in Standard Chartered Bank, and frankly, I was more like I work in a branch, okay, so where I have to sell product, I have to promote product, I have to get customer to open this account, get to buy this product, right? Okay, I think it's fairly simple that work nature like this is very measurable, where every day you get you basically, it's very quantifiable, where you're able to tell how many product I sold today, how many people open accounts with me today, right? So with such very, when your performance can be very easy identified, then I get it. Then it's very easy for company to manage you and manage your expectation. But then the interesting point comes to this nature of work is you usually get rewarded, not promotion, you get rewarded, like monetary rewarded by the number of sales you made. But you often realize that is not the only consideration for your promotion, because when a company promotes you, they consider your other skill, like management skill, your network, or your skill set, etc. Right? So move on a little about law enforcement, and so obviously one of the key job of me would be investigation and detection, right? But how can you possibly measure this? Because every single investigation is different. And then as a officer in charge of a small team, you have different people under you in compared to the person next to you, right? In compared to the team next to you. How can you possibly compare us as in our performance? Because let's say I get right, okay, so and we talk about fairness, right? So let's say there were two investigation teams, and one team keep getting the easy case. It's just by luck, right? It's just because I worked this week, and this week was all the easy case with simple like software for fighting, right? And then the other team, which came on next week, and then all this like money laundering case and a fraud coming in, right? What would you be expecting from the performance, right? My team would be easy with like good detection, criminal getting to court, getting justice. The other team would be exhausted, would be tired. They would be thinking of escape. They would be thinking of they probably don't even have time to make the arrest because of the the workload, right? So fairness. How do you and especially in law enforcement, we have a lot of different jobs, right? Some people work in the PR, some people work in investigation, some people work in human resource, some people work for complaint, some people work in operation, right? And by nature, there will be certain jobs where you will get more compliment and recognition. There will be job where you don't get as much as recognition because basically all you do is writing policy, right? So how can you compare that someone writing policy and someone who's investigating case? The very interesting about governments though, and law enforcement is when you get a promotion, I can actually move on to do another job. So I can be investigating today, and when I get promoted, I can be moved it to a human resource branch. So, wow. Okay. I will bring in a little bit more for Timothy to chip in. Maybe I can come back to this. And right. So, promotion, right? So, especially the more we always try to make this exercise fair. Okay. But the fact that I've been in this industry for 17 years, right? I've been in Korea for 17 years, and you just realize that sometimes the more you do, the more unfair it might look, right? And the reason why I'm saying this is because, like, right, okay, so because I don't want to pinpoint again any organization, right? So from the system, especially in the government, right, or especially in I go back to like Hong Kong Police Force. It's very transparent, right? So you have first of all, you have like this paper exercise. Paper exercise is basically including all your complement, all your academic, all the things that you do daily. That's what you call a paper board, right? And so before any promotion consideration, they will look at what you do over the years, right? It's all there in the book. And it looks fair, right? But you're very much sure that when you look into someone's record, there will be this part of that scoring called the impression. How do you put a score on impression? Like, so basically, right? If the system was very fair and transparent, it would be like easy. Okay, so this guy have 10 years service. He worked in investigation. He detected this. He got so much compliment. He's a degree holder. He even has a master. Right? It looks very transparent, right? But then inside this, even this part of the exercise, there's a part called impression. So how can you possibly? And then you'll be like, so who decide on how to give a score on impression? It will be the guy who decide on the promotion, right? So even a system appears to be so fair, there are things that inside which is not measurable and it's not transparent, right? And then on the next phase is you will have this called interview. So you're interviewed by a couple of senior member of the organization to judge you. to judge whether you have the competency to promote for the next title, the next rank, right? And again, talking about interview, I think we are mature enough to say, how do, it's either you have a very long legacy to make people believe that the interview is fair, right? But that you can imagine, just by imagining, that an interview can never be that fair, because some people might have some, if so happen the chairman, the guy who decide on the promotion, knows you, and the guy who doesn't know, and the next guy can mean he doesn't know, right? Do you think it's fair? No, it's not fair, right? But and they always say they can be fair, but it's really hard. And also one other thing before I put on the Timothy, right? The thing about interview promotion is it fair to judge someone on their promotion just based on the 30 minutes interview? And someone is just naturally not that good in interview, right? They're not that open to talk to strangers or talk to just senior people, but they're really good at their work. And they have been so good that it should be him, but no, because he did bad in the interview, right? He was nervous, right? And he's been judged. So, right, okay, so so maybe I pass it on to Timothy to talk about this, because I don't want to go too long. I will say something wrong eventually.
Okay, so for Timothy, I think you can focus, because Tony focused more about promotion, right? And we would also like to see how organizations can adopt a sort of a fair and consistent measurement of staff performance. Maybe Timothy can focus more about this on staff performance. Of course, performance actually is related to promotion. It's very interesting to know from Tony about the interesting practice about impression as part of the scoring system, and also the interview as well, 30 minutes interview to form an impression. Yeah, also to decide somebody's promotion possibility. So Timothy, maybe focus more on the performance, because Tony already covered the part on promotion.
Yeah, sure. Actually, my slide also handled that part as well. Luckily, I have prepared that. Actually, what Tony said is absolutely correct. I totally agree with him, and this is really happening in the real world and almost everywhere. But for company point of view, or for us, we should try to be fair, to make the process fair. So how to make a fair measurement? I will introduce you a SMART approach. SMART, SMART. So what are they? The first one is S, specific. The goal has to be very specific and clear to the employee. And secondly, about measurable. M stands for measurable. It has to be able to be measured. Yeah, I totally understand and agree with Tony that, like, impression, how can you measure it? You can't. But it can be a factor and put it inside like a scoring, put it inside a paper. We try to do it fairly, okay? And thirdly, it's about actionable. A stands for actionable. It can be achieved. It means that it can be achieved, and it has to be agreed with the relevant. The goal has to be realistic and relevant. And lastly, it's about time. When it can be done, when it can be complete. You cannot say, I would like to achieve this with infinity time, right? And just want to add, with this model, to be honest, with this approach, for my career, for my experience, my boss normally measure it like that way. And just want to add to be measurable for the staff performance, it has to be evidence, have to be able to provide sufficient evidence and ownership to the staff, and it should be reviewable. So that's my comment. So
thank you very much, Tony. Sometimes the most basic stuff are the most effective.
I move to Peter.
Yeah, thank you. So we have a question here from a viewer today. What What governance frameworks help ensure promotion decisions are fair, transparent, and evidence-based? Maybe Tony, continue with your sharing about promotion. What
Well,
governance framework helps? Yeah.
Well, that is the thing, because actually I don't think there's any other organization than the government which have more of a framework on promotion. So, and I explain it here, right? So I think there are some very measurable things during the promotion, especially your years of service, the works that you've been doing, the complement, your academics level. So I think on this sort of basis, right, if you're really counting each of them, then I guess at least this part is fair. And so move on when you talk about transparent, is we know they're measuring these sort of things, right? Your years of service, your posting, your academics, right? But the transparent is still low because you don't know how exactly are they measuring. So even let's say if I right, so basically, so if I tell you, especially if I tell you that the chance of you getting a promotion will be higher if you work in operational rather than work for a customer service or complaint, then it will be transparent. But they don't want to have that transparency because otherwise it would be everyone working in the operational wing and no one want to go to the complaints unit, right? So it's very difficult. And even throughout my years of service there, you always see that they try to promote at least some people from every unit, because that is how they, there will be other consideration in the promotion is to keep the morale and motivation in each division as well. So if you just have one unit, right, you know damn well everyone in that unit work really hard. They're the top, they're the elite people, right? But if you simply promote everyone there, but nobody else from the other, from the other units, right, you will see a collapse in the organization. And you will see bribery and conflict of interest for the people trying to get to that elite or elite unit, because that is the unit you get the promotion, right? So how will you get there, right? So I think with transparency is one of the things a lot of the organization will try to be limited, because obviously you can't be that transparent, and you don't want that transparent because of other consideration of the organization. Evidence-based. Well, here's the things, right? I think they do try to produce evidence-based, because every year that I went into promotion exercise, they would give me a report afterward. They would give me a report of how much score I got from the paperboard, how much score I got from the interview. And they wrote report about how you did in the interview as well. So it looks like evidence-based. It looks like, okay, I didn't do that well, I should be better next year, right? I don't know how much I don't know how much of that framework sounds to you, because it is a framework where something very solid like your years of service, your posting are counted into the promotion. But then, can the decision be fair, or is it transparent? And I talk about the disadvantage of being full transparent, and evidence-based. No, because as an employee, as I participating in that promotion exercise 5 times before I got into that chief inspector post, and every year I see like 50 to hundreds of people getting promoted next to me. And sitting here now and asking, is it evidence-based? Well, at least they try. At least there's a system. And if you want to get promoted, you have to go through that system. So I didn't give up. No, there's no evidence-based. It's evidence-based because if you challenge them, there are clear record to show that, look, we have taken into account of everything that you did over the years and also your interview score. So it depends which perspective you're looking at. If you're looking from an organization perspective, then you just want to make sure that everything's being recorded, everything is proper, so you don't get challenged. But if you're looking from an employee's perspective, someone who's looking for promotion, unless, like Timothy say, right, if there is a very specific goal and I achieved that goal and you failed me for my promotion, then there's a problem.
That's
Yes.
very interesting sharing. Just, you mentioned that the interview report, right, will be sent to the person, right, to the staff concerned, right, so the staff will know about the score of the interview. So if somehow the staff receive a report showing very low score, is there any appeal system in place as part of the governance framework?
Well, that is the thing, because it's a framework that has been ongoing for so many years. So basically, there is no system to appeal because look, the guy, the chairman who's sitting in the board, who's deciding on every promotion, right, is 3 titles above you. It's 3 titles above you. So basically, the organization is trusting on the leadership of the person who's sitting in the board, right? So how would I, appeal the system? I think you can make complaint, but as far as I know, I've never heard of any. I don't see any appeal system, and I have not heard of any. I heard of complaint, but I have not heard of any successful complaint. But again, the good thing about having a framework is, you failed and you feel like gutted. You feel like, oh, it should have been me, but you will continue to participate the game, right?
That's very true. Yeah, if somehow somebody has appealed to the authority or to the department concerned, and then that would give them a very bad impression, right? So in the end, the impression score will be low. Maybe the result will be much lower. The score will be much lower than expected. So never appeal. Okay.
Exactly. This guy is trouble. So next year we know how to deal with him, right? Especially, I think, because again we go back to governance and culture, right? With it's a very unique nature of work where we work in a disciplined force, right? You basically obey the system. So you respect the system, right? So now someone 3 ranks above you say you're not competent to promote. You just have to accept it and improve yourself.
Very true, very true. And we have to look at it from the positive side, right? Okay, very true. Okay, here come another question then. Okay, so again, I think it's in terms of promotion and hiring process, how DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, plays its role. Okay, so who would like to answer this question?
I give the floor to Timothy to start with.
Okay. So I would like to try to answer this. So, but first of all, I want to let everyone knowing that I do respect everyone in this call, how you do and what you did. Okay. So and actually, if you ask me about this question during the hiring process, how DEI plays its role, I will say that let's go back to the very basic. What is organization? So maybe everyone know it, but it's hard. It's really hard to achieve. So organization is actually a group of people having common goal and move on. It sounds simple, right? But it's very hard, very difficult to do that. So in order for the hiring senior management or even a normal officer, so during the stage, I would like to suggest there should be a checklist. And for DEI part, it cannot be a key component or key factor. It should be a minor factor, because for company point of view, even your auditor, your HR, your compliance officer, MLR, etc., we do have the common goal to make company growing, right? So the business strategy should come first. So if I used to hire someone else, then I should score, make the scoring, I mean the competency and capability should be ranked higher than we so-called DEI or inclusion. In the circumstances that two candidates are very similar scoring, then DEI probably can play its role. For example, maybe the next CEO or COO should be a female because we do have 5 terms of a male CEO already. We would like to have a new environment, new moral, new picture of the company. So probably we will pick a female. Then that's fine for me. Yeah. And other things you can apply DEI is that we allows different role, different race, even he or she is disabled, to join the interview and rank fairly. So even he cannot move, even he's disabled, okay? If his knowledge or her knowledge is capable to do the role smoothly, then we should hire him or her. Yeah, that's my comment. Yeah, I will pass to Tony for her comment, for his comment.
It's a very sensitive topic because it would be very sad when it comes to someone being promoted, and the first thing that pops into your mind is because he's a man or he's a woman, right? That's actually a very so this question is very sensitive, right? Especially with promotion, they're rarely very transparent. So Timothy, I agree with you where you say, you'll be fine if you understand the reason why this particular person is chosen, because we want to have different noise, a different opinion from maybe, we already have 5 male senior management here, so we want to have a female there to make the broad more like diversity in the sense that not more noise and you can get opinion or comment from a different perspective. But the thing is, right, it's always about rumors and culture within the organization, right? So if the organization does not stood up and to give a very transparent reason why she or why he was picked instead of she or he, then there will be speculation within the organization to suspect that just because he's a man or just because he's a woman, and because the thing is, right, with senior management or with promotion, right, they rarely explain to you why, and there will be some hidden agenda usually, other than maybe a very obvious performance factors that comes into a promotion consideration, and so when you say how DEI play its role, it's I can't be very I can't judge hard on that because you don't know what the management or what the organization is thinking, right? So but my only on the ground opinions would be there are often a lot of noises within the organization about every promotion. And if the promotion appears to be unfair because of DEI, then it will be a problem. So I will only suggest, and my advice to the organization is when they do hear such rumors or when they do hear such judgment about the promotion, I think in nowadays world, you should be more transparent and more willing to stood up and tell all the employees within the organization why this promotion happened.
Yeah, very nice. Well, we are talking about this topic, right? Promotion and hiring process related to DEI. I have a story I would like to share with you about hiring, and it's related to DEI. It's a real story that I heard from one of my friends who work in a multinational company, and in this company has been promoting DEI, meaning that they hire because of merit, not because of your sexual orientation, your religion, and so on. And this employee, my friend, right, has been with this company for, I think, many years, over 15 years. And she has heard a lot about that, but she has never really believed whether they have done it. But she heard a lot of that. Until one day, she saw a sharing from their internal portal. And then on that platform actually is the sharing of the staff from all over the world about what they feel about the company and that, this and that. And then one of her colleagues from the States actually wrote that, saying that 2 years ago, when I sat for the interview, I told the interviewer that I'm gay. So just for them to consider whether they wanted to hire me. And then in the end, the next week, he got an offer. So with this story, right? So he wrote it on the sort of intranet, and everybody saw it. And my friend actually told me that because of this story told by their own employees, by their own colleagues, they believe that the company really talk. So a lot of times, right, instead of telling people what you should do, what we are doing, just have the other people really walk the talk, and then the employee told the story. I think this would be this is the best way to tell people that we are really a company respecting DE&I, and we really hire people because of their merit, because of experience, but not other considerations. So this story has been set on my mind for many years. I just thought that I think the best way to tell people about the company is from the mouth of the employees. But of course, I think on Facebook, right, somebody just do it for promotion. But for this kind of stories, I think it's very true and very real. Okay, so let's move on to the next question then. Yeah, we have a question here. Okay, Davey. Oh, David, say hi to every one of you. You have a very good team here. Okay, so we still have around 15 minutes to go. So we have this story. We now have another question. Okay. Sometimes organizations feel uncertain about internal candidates and choose to hire externally due to governance gaps or unclear criteria. How do you feel about this? And one more question. And what impact does it have on the organization's trust and culture?
I will let Tony to start first.
Okay.
Well, that's a very interesting because in where I work for in the law enforcement, we never hire external to suddenly arrive and take the place, right? But then you do get someone promoted from somewhere else and be seated on your senior post. So I kind of get that feeling. I do get that feeling. I think it very depends. It depends on from a personal perspective. It depends first of all whether I'm actually one of the person who is striking for that promotion and someone sat in from outside. Because if I'm not striking for promotion, then it's nothing to do with me. All right, it's just another guy coming in. I can try to please him. I can just show him the work that I do, and just continue with my life, right? But let's say I have a very competitive years with someone next to me, or both fighting for one potential promotion, right? And we both didn't get it, and someone else sat in, right? And you can just imagine the morale of both of us, right? It would be like we've been working very hard. We are doing, we're I certainly think we do the right thing for the company. And why would you not even consider one of us but choose someone else, right? So that part I have to say you have to be very transparent. And I think especially within the organization, if you have like a few candidates who's fighting for one promotion and things like this happen, you suddenly lost all your right. So if I'm someone who's looking for promotion, then of course, if someone set in, then if the person is getting promoted or someone who's sitting in that position is not me, then it will create that possibility that I want to leave the company, right? Because obviously I'm striking for a promotion, I'm striking for a career advancement. So that's simple. But when something like this happens, it's not just about it's not just about us fighting for that promotion. It's actually impact the whole organization, as in whether our career path are still clear. And when I say it's clear, right? Again, when I go back to government, right? At least they show you a very nice and clear career path. In a few years' time, you will become senior inspector. With a few years' time, you qualify for promotion exercise. And once you promote to chief inspector, in a few years' time, you can start going for superintendent, right? It's very clear. It never say on the policy, right? In a few years' time, someone's going to jump in from nowhere, and then you can't be promoted, right? So when you hire external to be setting in some, a senior position, it will create that morale issue and a lot of uncertainty regarding the career path. So talking about impact is that would definitely be the impact. But I think as the organization, there must be some decision behind this hiring, right? So you need to be transparent. And what I find in, from what I hear within the industry is the company rarely ever explain to you why. They just do it, right? They just do it. So, and because you're an employee, they just want you to accept it as it is. But they never really have the chance to really. It depends whether the colleagues next to you or your previous manager, right? And I think it's really important to talk to our employees to tell them the reason. So what is missing in you, right? Why such decisions been made? And obviously, the worst answer you could get is, "Oh, this guy is a friend of the CEO." That's the worst answer you can get. But that's the rumors that you always get within the organization, right? So, but at least from what I heard from people, right? But yeah, I think it's important that we understand why such decisions have been made, and the organization must comfort us, settle our morale issue, and at the same time help us refine our goal and how we can continue to work and strike for the promotion goal eventually. Well, that's basically what I can give to the group. Timothy?
Okay, just want to add, actually for my experience, there's no right or wrong answer for this question. If you promote someone else internally, I would say it could become a cancer of the company. Why? Because you know very well about how you operate, right? And you know your colleagues, your teammates. And once you get promoted, you always will see that there's a very huge conflict between the goal of the company against the individuals, the other teammates. So what you need to do is to make a balance, but sometimes it's really hard. For example, for our company or whatever company, they want to set up a very high quota for you. Of course, you want the company grow, right? But for me, for my personal perspective, I would like to have a lower quota, of course. So there's a huge gap. So and probably if I become a senior management and everyone, I mean the culture, everything will get changed, as what Tony say, because this is a new rules. If you hire someone else from external, the game rules will be changed. Yeah, because it's a new manager, that he or she may have a different view from his or her previous company. So but alternatively, it probably creates some new opportunities. So who knows? So what I can say is a two-edged sword, two-edged sword. So there's no right or wrong answer. Yeah, but what you can do is you try to get promoted to a senior role, then you can rule it. Then of course you can say more. You can manage more, right? So that's my comment. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the insights for both gentlemen. I think from an employee perspective, right, they really want the company to give them opportunities. So promotion from within is always the policy of companies. A lot of companies, think global companies, because they really want to retain the employee, engage them, so that if they stay longer, because it's a company, that they should stay longer because we have opportunities for you. And if the company is able to give them very detailed, like very transparent criteria for promotion, and and everybody is aware of it, I'm sure the employee will feel motivated to stay with the company and work for the best for the organizations. Okay, let's see if we let's see if we still. Okay, the last question of the day before the closing remarks. Okay. Every promotion is a cultural signal. What can leaders do to ensure these signals reinforce fairness, trust, and long-term organizational resilience?
I'll let Timothy go first if you can.
I'm still thinking about it, to be honest. Maybe if Tony, if you have any comment, you can go first as well.
I think when you talk about promotion as a culture signal, without going to the later part of the question, right? So I just give a very quick example. So if you promote, let's say there were two candidates, and there was this candidate who's really good at promoting things, or he has a really good sales record, and the other teammate, which is also striking for this promotion, but he has a less sales record, but very compliant, less complaint, right? If the company decide to promote me, it sends a clear culture signal that we want sales, and maybe less about compliance. But if the company decide to promote the other guy, then it's a culture signal to say, look, sales record is not the most important thing, because we just want to make sure everything is done properly. And then right away, the culture signal sent right to the people beneath within the organization is, if you want to be promoted or be considered, a promotion to the management level, then you might as well start focusing on compliance than your sales record. So, and of course, there will be people who will be like, oh, so when you talk about fairness and trust, then if you promote the other guy, then there will be other people who's complaining. It's like, oh, we are the guy who's creating the revenue for the company. Why are you doing this to us? Then there will be an organizational resilience about how you change the culture, what signal, what message you're sending to the employee, so they can continue to have their career path well defined, and whether they need to reconsider their career path within the company.
Yeah, very true. People see what people do, right? So what they have done, how do they handle promotion? Actually sending a signal to the employee that this is the company focusing on. Right? Okay, very nice. Thanks so much for both gentlemen for the sharing today. Here comes the very, very last question. Please share with us your closing remarks. Maybe one thing you really want us to take away. Who would like to go first? Maybe Timothy this time?
I would like to say that the key takeaway is that, as we hear for today's conversation, the governance for an organization is really difficult and important, but it has to be measurable. It has to be evidence based, and has to be clear. So as what the last question say is a topic about how clear the message can pass to the employee or the candidate of the interviewer. So without all this, we do it in a back box, it's a silos, then it's not clear at all. So I think I would like to draw everyone's attention that the governance has to be clear, manageable, measurable, and reviewable. Yeah, that's my message.
Very nice. How about Tony?
Actually, I think after this talk at the end, I want to give something else to the group here. I just want to, nothing is fair in life. So even with the most, governance framework on promotion is never. Let the truth is, it's never fair if you are not the one who's getting promoted. So, but then again, I think from an employee, I try to go from an employee perspective. I think there is a lesson to learn in every failure in promotion, and I think I think it sounds crazy if I ask you to appreciate the guy who's getting promotion, but I think from time to time there are weaknesses in us that you might not recognize, but it's so recognizable if you look at yourself from a management perspective. So, even, and believe it or not, even you're the one who's getting promoted, right? There will be other people who think the promotion is unfair. So, we just have to, and again, at the end of the day, part of this topic today was talking about, financial crime resulting from something unfair, right? Don't do anything silly. You did have a really clear, good path, vision about your promotion, and failure in 1 year doesn't mean anything. And if you want to get the promotion, you just have to trust the system somehow. So that is my takeaway. So everyone just keep fighting, keep working hard.
Yeah, keep fighting for the promotion. We have a comments from our viewer today. Institutional gene, culture, and behavior. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you so much for your sharing. Okay, thank you, everyone. And thank you, Timothy and Tony, for your insight. Today's discussion reinforces one truth. Who gets promoted shapes what gets tolerated. Promotion decisions define culture. Performance measurement defines expectations. Governance defines boundaries. And altogether, they determine whether an organization becomes resilient or vulnerable. Thank you to everyone who joined us today. We hope this conversation helped you rethink how talent decisions influence conduct, culture, and governance. So have a very good afternoon and see you next week. Thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Bye.